Hello guys, today I'm looking at Silent Hill Shattered Memories. This is definitely a very weird game in the sense that it's going over the original Silent Hill story, but just doing its own thing on it. Just completely like, oh yeah, we're using this as the basis for a story, but we're not going to bother doing anything, massive to it. And out of all the Silent Hill stories or spin-offs that weren't from Team Silent, this one is the one I think I kind of tolerated the best, or liked the most. It kind of has the same basic lineup. Cheryl's missing. You have to go find her in the town of Silent Hill. It's snowing outside. No one is around. What's really interesting about this game and what it claims, its big claim to fame, is that it psychologically profiles you as you play. So it's really interesting that if you zoom in on certain posters dealing from, signs on the road to posters of women, or disgusting things in the environment or animals, apparently it will change the dialogue and the characters. And that's, I don't know, it's a really great concept, because that is the point of Silent Hill, that each person Silent Hill is personalized and is a reflection of their mind. And so thankfully, at least to my knowledge, Pyramid Head is not in this game, because that's the long running frustration a lot of people have with the Silent Hill series, is that Silent Hill is a manifestation specifically for James. So there's no reason for him to appear in other people's manifestations, especially when it's very different. Also, this game was originally released on the Wii's, which is just another weird thing about it. And so you had to waggle the controls in order to run away from the zombies and stuff. And the way it does do the zombies is kind of bad, I guess. And I think the fact I'm even calling them zombies is an indication of what this game is like. It was cool though on the Wii though, that you could take your flashlight and point it in any direction, and exploring the town at night feels very creepy. But when the time to get chased by these creatures comes, you basically wander into a certain area and the wall freezes behind you. And as long as you're in that area, you're in danger. And as long as you're back in the safe world, you're safe. So that kind of really took away a lot from the game, because it's the whole point of the horror games is that an enemy could be anywhere at any time, but now it's segmented off into different areas, and it's kind of a little bit lame. And honestly, they're just kind of tedious things. And the missions themselves, when you have to go against the apparitions or demons, you're basically in a series of hallways that are all just blue with ice. There's no decoration, nothing to distract you. You just have to get through the environment as fast as possible, sometimes jumping over chasms, sometimes getting chased, sometimes sneaking, but mostly just chasing and doing motion controls and quick time events and all this stuff. There's one part that's kind of scary / funny, where you're in a wheelchair and you have to outmaneuver the monsters while you're in a wheelchair, which is pretty funny. Also, depending on what you zoom in and look at, if you look at it long enough, it will trigger dialogue, and the game does warn you at the beginning of the game that it's going to start changing the game based on what you look at. Again, the only issue is that I never saw this actually in the game itself. There's never, I mean, maybe there's a dev diary or reflection that tells me what it actually changes, but from me playing the game, I never felt a connection between what I was looking at and how the game was changing itself on me, whether the designs of the monsters were becoming more feminine, the more females or female generated content you look at, or what. The one cool thing is that in between sessions, you have this little talk in first person mode with this psychiatrist. And he basically gives you a bunch of mini games and dialogues that, again, is we're going inside your mind. We're going to know who you are, kind of thing. And some of them are kind of cool, draw this house, or what is your favorite representation of a house, or whatever. And then he does this Rorschach test or something. The last kind of bit that I thought was kind of cool but cheesy is you had to look at a picture of a bunch of people, and basically say which ones were sleeping and which ones were actually dead. And once you're done, sorting them into those two categories, you end up coming back and he says, "Oh, trick question, they're all dead." Ooh, yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but again, in terms of the Western Silent Hills, in terms of Western developers taking a crack at Silent Hill, I would say that this game at least does it the best. It at least tries something new, something different, and again, the game will apparently change depending on the psychological choices you make. I mean, that as an idea is exactly like what the game is about. And so besides Origins and Homecoming, I think this one, at least in its tone and its objective, tried to, do an accurate job to the originals the most. There's also some pretty good songs and tracks in this game. Nothing as good as, the original ones by Akira Yamaoka. I mean, he's really the soul of Silent Hill, and sound design, it really is the soul of any horror game. So it was kind of odd, I guess, to play this, and you can tell, like, oh yeah, it's Silent Hill-ish. It's just very difficult to say that they're on the same level, because they're really not. But at least it's something that at least tries. Like I almost kind of cringed where at the very end of the game you have to like race to the lighthouse, to find the truth. It's just a very overdone trope. I mean, it kind of works a lot every time, but yeah. And again, this feels like more of an homage to Silent Hill than like a proper sequel, or what they at the time called it, a spiritual successor. In fact, this is the first time I heard a game referred to as a spiritual successor, and I guess that's kind of accurate, at least for this game. You do have a phone that you can operate and go into options and menus and take pictures of the environment and hopefully find like hidden stuff and whatnot. But again, it's such a simple game. Is it worth playing? Maybe if you're a Silent Hill fan, really die hard and want to play something kind of okay. I mean, I guess this is sort of worth it, but it's something I pretty much forgot about as soon as I finished it. It's just not that great. Again, some of the atmosphere can be really nice here and there. I think it does kind of solve the issue of the fact that, the whole point of Silent Hill 1 was that you had all this fog to stop the draw distance. And in this game, what they do is they use the snow and the blizzard instead of the fog to really create this atmosphere of mystery, of total darkness, and of the fact that a bunch of roads become suddenly blocked because of snowfall. And that's actually kind of believable. You're like, oh, okay, I guess I really can't go this way. Anyway, this is probably the best, Silent Hill has gotten. I mean, I haven't played all the other Silent Hill spin-offs, but from what I've seen, I felt this one, at least in tone, kind of did the best job. And again, the whole thing with, downpour is like, oh, water is scary. In this game, ice is scary. It's just absolutely cringe. It's just... It's trying. Anyway, that's pretty much this game. There are some cool moments where you can like find audio recordings and voicemails on your phone when you do certain things that obviously are not from other people, and it's kind of like a spirit mobile phone kind of thing. Anyway, the game is okay, and I would say, oh yeah, the ending has a pretty neat twist to it, which, depending on who you are and how you've played the game, might be cool or might be incredibly forced and just like cringe-inducing. Oh, I forgot, they had this whole mechanic where you would grab a door and you would slowly like open it up, so kind of like Splinter Cell almost or something. So you wouldn't just automatically open doors, but you could like slowly peek in. Not that there was a real point to that, except for in the chase sequences when you can check if anyone's behind the door. But usually, again, in those sequences, you're just trying to get out of there as fast as possible. And, the whole stealth thing, once you realize that it's kind of useless, you don't really do it anymore. But anyway, yeah, that is Silent Hill Shattered Memories. See ya.